Right, let's kick us off with Carlisle. I assume this is a name and not the whole town of Carlisle. And they ask a several-parted question. Is it sensible for Keir Starmer to be talking Elon Musk down when we know he is reactionary and we know how much he is funding Trump? He seems very interested in UK politics and his online persona probably aligns closest with reform. Should Starmer be trying to befriend Musk or does he have enough rich allies? Will Starmer's relationship with Musk be getting discussed internally? And of course, we're all talking about Elon Musk at the moment because he does seem to be rather obsessed with the UK, more so than he has been before, and frequently commenting on the unrest and riots we've had. He replied to a clip of Nigel Farage, who accused Keir Starmer of being the biggest threat to free speech the UK has ever seen. He simply wrote, "True," which seems both untrue and odd. Carlisle's question then, should he be talking Elon Musk down, Keir Starmer?
It's been a sort of surreal confrontation between the two. I mean, in my column, I compare Elon Musk to the Joker in the Batman films. This sort of anarchic sort of bomb thrower, and with the Conservatives effectively leaderless. And
where is Richie? Sorry, I'm just going to come in here.
So, well, he's been having a nice time in Beverly Hills. He's spotted leaving a Michelin restaurant during the riots. So, the benefits of opposition, you might say.
Absolutely.
If these riots had happened,
we haven't had a word though, have we? Am I wrong? No,
not. He did tweet about them. He did condemn the riots in tweet form, but he's having a more peaceful summer than he would as Prime Minister. But on Musk, number 10 pushed back against that incendiary comment he made where he said civil war is inevitable. I think they were right to do that. You cannot allow a narrative to begin that the UK is on the brink of civil war, not just because it's politically damaging, it's also clearly false. Then they were quite cautious. They were being repeatedly asked by journalists to respond to all of Musk's tweets. He called him two-tier Keir in reference to the accusations of two-tier policing. Now, they were right not to jump at all of these because it's not a fair fight in the sense, Keir Starmer's Prime Minister, he has to uphold the sort of dignity of the office. He can't just get into a Twitter war with Elon Musk. Elon Musk can say what he wants. He literally owns that platform. Right. He's got this huge megaphone and he's the world's richest man. So, but look, politically, I don't think Keir Starmer has anything to fear from being seen to be disliked by Elon Musk. Musk himself is pretty unpopular among the British public. So they're more in common actually polled this. So Musk's has a approval rating of -30. Starmer's is -7. So there's a sort of gap of 23 points between them. And I think the average British person, to the extent to which they think about Musk, will think, who's this weird American and why is he intruding on the UK when we've got big problems, but the Prime Minister's trying to address them. Clearly has a fan base on part of the right, but it's a pretty narrow one. So,
but do you think this other bit that Carlisle's getting at here, that we've obviously seen this, well, more than a rapprochement, this very warming of relations between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. We've had this quite bizarre 2-hour plus, I don't know if it's an interview or just a love-in really this week on X/Twitter, where some very odd comments were made. But looking ahead to the UK's relationship with the US, should Trump be elected, does Musk come in there, do you think, or do we just have to ignore?
I think he does to an extent. I mean, that's probably also why number 10 were mindful of not, because in some ways Musk, as you say, is almost a bit of a proxy for Trump. Labour being incredibly careful to prepare for a possible Trump presidency, even though it's perhaps less likely than it seemed before Biden stood down. They need a good relationship with the US, whoever's president. So I think that is an additional factor. Musk is almost a kind of quasi-political figure in his own right. They're not. That doesn't mean they have to be deferential towards him, but it's also not in their interests to have endless hostilities.
And we didn't really learn much from that chat, but there was a strange moment, well, several, but we're describing Vladimir Putin, Xi and Kim Jong-un of North Korea as being on top of their game, which I suppose is one way of looking at it, or ruthless dictators is the other.
Yes, I mean, it is a trend we've seen with Trump for many years, his sort of admiration for authoritarians, and does, raise questions about what he might do on term limits if he's elected.
But do you get the sense that Team Starmer or the cabinet are discussing this at all, or is it they're more focused on what's happening here?
The social media has been a big factor. Actually, Telegram, that the Home Office in particular have been concerned about. It's the speed with which people communicate, and Starmer emphasised several times that if it's illegal offline, it's illegal online. So I think they do see social media as a bit of an ungoverned space. They are going to review laws around the Online Safety Act, something Sadiq Khan called for. So there's a policy response there. But in terms of the politics, it was clearly, rebut Musk. But then when he kept coming, it was almost that let's ignore him. Yeah. Don't fuel the fire.
Some of us were big fans of Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey during the election campaign. I particularly liked the fact that he was the only one really talking about social care, and he put out that very moving video about the care he provides to his son. And I actually liked the stunts. But Joe quite rightfully asks us, why has Ed Davey disappeared since the election? Has the lack of media coverage confirmed his water sports approach to electioneering as the best choice he could make?
Ed Davey, I'm sure, would say he hasn't disappeared. That he asked Keir Starmer, PM Keys, about social care, the issue you mentioned. He's been giving interviews saying that he wants to finish the job in the blue wall. There are a lot of Conservative seats where the Lib Dems are in second place. That he sees this. I think they've got their highest number of seats since the 20s. Sees this as a starting point, not the end. But look, you're right that the Lib Dems are getting less attention. That's always been a problem for them. I mean, it was a problem even when they pre 2015, when they had a high number of seats under Nick Clegg. Why? Because particularly when there's a change of government, that sucks up a huge amount of attention. And then I suppose the other main plot line has been the divisions on the right between the Tories and Farage. And the Lib Dems actually are broadly united party by those standards.
To be fair, though, I mean, it's recess, so lots of MPs are on holiday, actually. And as we've been talking about this week and last week, I mean, there's only been one story in town, and that's the riots. And that's kind of a government response. We haven't really heard much from any of the other parties, have we?
No, because I mean, as the Conservatives are in this weird space where Sunak's still leader, but obviously no one's particularly interested in what he has to say. But look, the longer term strategic challenge for the Lib Dems is how do they use their new parliamentary strength to boost their national profile on issues like social care, on issues like the 2-child limit. They have the potential to be a really challenging opposition to Labour, partly because there are people on the centre left, who voted Lib Dem in the past, and because they might take a more sort of forensic policy led approach than the Conservatives who may be who could get trapped in wars of words with Keir Starmer without necessarily being effective on single issues. They've got their conference in 4 weeks' time, so that's soon. So they will be preparing for that. And then the strategic dilemma, is it simply about finishing the job in the blue wall, as Ed Davey says, or do they want to start challenging Labour in some seats? There's been talk of them. Bermondsey, a former Lib Dem seat
in London.
The party president Mark Pack has been saying that they will look to target Labour in some of those areas.
Because they did have Bermondsey, didn't they? That was Simon Hughes.
Yeah. Now they lost most of those supporters during the coalition era, and the Greens now in second place in a lot of seats the Lib Dems used to hold. So they've attracted what you could see as that urban left vote that's not Labour but left leaning. But that's an interesting dilemma for them. How do they position themselves in relation to the new Labour government? Because they met at the election, they almost functioned as a sort of anti-Tory sort of blue wall pressure group. But can they? The past ambition under Nick Clegg was to supplant, break the mould, to dislodge the two-party system, to be a real challenge, not just to the Conservatives but to Labour too. So that's a long-term sort of strategic dilemma. So it'll be fascinating how Ed Davey approaches that. But also, as you say, getting national attention on social care, on these single issues. I think the time to judge the Lib Dems will be at their conference, how effective they are in defining themselves with this big, much expanded parliamentary party.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's this one to. I mean, I'm all for holding our hands up collectively as the media when we have got it wrong. I'm not sure this one could be pinned on the media. We just haven't given enough time. I mean, Parliament only sat for a matter of days, really, prior to recess. No one's really been anywhere. I think we need to give Ed Davey and the media's chance to cover the Liberal Democrats a bit longer before we say that, only sort of extreme style action gets attention.
Yeah.
But I think one to watch